What are you watching?
Okada vs. Omega 2.
Ah, that was a good one.
You saw it?
Fuck yeah. Try watching something else besides WWE, you fucking mark.
Oh, Mom.
It's time for another wrestling podcast.
All right. Welcome to episode 164. I'm Credo.
I'm Minority Mike.
And of course, I'm everyone's favorite asshole, Angry Cooter, and you're listening to another wrestling podcast. Bitches.
Well, guys, this is what it's coming down to. After this show, the streak will finally be over. What streak is that? Well, for 164 episodes, we've had guests on every show from, the incarnation of the show. Every week for 3 years. Tuesday, June 13th, marked 3 years for another wrestling podcast. It's a second job, ladies and gentlemen. Booking a guest, finding a guest, bringing them on, every week. Just think about what you did every week for 3 years. Boom, we had a guest every week. I don't think a lot of other podcasts, yet any other podcast, could probably say that. For 3 years, they had a guest consecutively. A lot of podcasts out there take breaks. And so, it is what it is. But for us, I don't know. Maybe I could say we're one of the first for 3 weeks. I'm just going to say it anyway because it doesn't really matter. We've had somebody on the show. So after today's show, after we have Mr. Ellis Mbeh coming on the show, you might remember him from being the Undertaker Streak guy. When the Undertaker lost his streak, you remember seeing his face in shock. So he's gonna be the last guest for us for a little bit. We're more or less, I think, gonna take a summer vacation, a little bit of a break. But I mean, after 3 years doing it every single week, you kind of gotta take a step back, get a vacation. Even during the summer, Christmas vacation, no matter what you guys had for the past 3 years, we had a show on with a guest every week. So that's a little bit of an accomplishment, I think, in the podcast world. But, all good things must come to an end. And, the load is off my shoulders, our shoulders, everybody's shoulders right now, because we don't have to look forward to having a guest every week. Like I said, it's summertime, guys. It's time to break out and have a little bit of a break. So the streak is over. Guys, Cooter, Mike, tell us a little bit about it. I mean, within those 3 years you came onto the show, what was your impression? Give us something. Tell the fans about your impression of AWP.
It was funny. Me and Mike were doing our own little YouTube thing. And I remember when you hit me up on the phone and just asked to fill in for 1 week, with JB being sick. And we had some great chemistry. And I got lucky. JB kind of just never came back. And we just continued forward, and we've done some really good work here. And then adding Mike in, it was kind of like the cherry on top of the sundae, man. He just kind of brought it all together. It's sad to see your streak come to an end here, Credo. But I think the guest you have is very appropriate, very metaphorical. And I'm looking forward to a little bit of a break myself because, goddamn, we've been doing this for a long time, brother.
Yes.
I don't want to say that this is the end.
No, definitely not the end. It's more or less we'll see you later, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, peace out. I'll be back later. Gonna go down the road and buy a 40. Come back later. I'll be back soon. No, I've listened to another wrestling podcast. I mean, like I said, like Cooter said, me and him did our own thing on our own little YouTube adventure. We always promoted the show. Secretly, I kind of wanted to be on the show sometimes as a little MMA analyst. But I'm not going to allegedly put that on the record. But when I finally got the opportunity, I was just a guy that got in an argument with Michael Cole. He just wanted to talk to me about it. And now you guys adopted me. And you guys know me. I love talking professional wrestling, whether I'm arguing with people or stating my facts and agreeing with people. This is like, I wouldn't say it's like a hobby. I would say it's like something I truly passionate about and enjoy. But then again, there is also that vacation that I also need, even though I just went on vacation. I went to Cancun for a week. But I need to
recharge. You saw Bailey's thongs.
I did. They were red. But it's like you kind of need to recharge the batteries and kind of take a break. And then when we come back, we're coming back fucking stronger.
That's right. That's it. There is no. It's not like it's the end. It's just the end of the streak, right? You know what I mean? The end of the guests every single week. Taking a little bit of a break from that. Like, it's our summer vacation. But guys, if you're listening to us for the first time out there, anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. You have 164 or 3 episodes. If you're listening to this one, 163 episodes to catch up on a lot of guests out there. So
start listening.
So when we come back refreshed, you can kind of get an idea where we're going and whatnot. So yeah, it is what it is. But hey, all good things must come to an end. But with that said, let's get right into the conversation with Mr. Ellis Mbeh. The streak is over, so let's talk a little bit about the streak. Let's welcome him to the studio right now.
All right, Brock Lesnar counter. Brock Lesnar counter. Lesnar counter. He's got Undertaker up in his shoulders again. Not again. Going for a triple. A third and 5 to the Undertaker. Brock Lesnar into the cover. Hooks the leg. The streak is over.
Our streak ends tonight after 164 weeks in a row. Our next guest will be the last for a while. Ellis Mbeh, most famously known for being the Undertaker Streak guy whose face became an instant sensation when his look spoke for the millions of us around the world when The Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. Today, you can't see his face, but I'm sure he's in shock that our streak ends today. Ellis, man, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is a big deal.
It is. It's
164 episodes.
Oh man, I know it's gonna be like a load off my shoulders, but at the same time, I had to go out in style, and I needed you on the show tonight. So thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me be part of the ending of the streak.
There you go. I know you're in shock, but let's get right into it. Like I said, when I knew we were taking a break, I had to get you on. Just to be a part of it, because our streak's ending. You're the Undertaker Streak guy, so it works like that, right? So, but could you take us back maybe to that very night? Take us back to that moment. 1, 2, 3. The Undertaker loses his streak. What was going through your head? What happened? I mean, did you know the cameras are on you? Can you just take us back to that moment, or just everything around you? What happened?
Well, it was kind of weird. So I was rooting against Taker the whole time. Like the entire time.
I was too. I'll admit that. Yes, I was kind of happy for Brock to win it, but at the same time, I know what you mean. It was
right. So I've actually been rooting against Taker for like years. Because when you beat Triple H, like, I hate you forever. So when he lost, I thought, like, all right. So first of all, like, cameras are ringside, so when you're sitting ringside. This is my first time sitting ringside for any of that, and the cameras are around, so you kind of, I don't know, like, you make that big investment to sit there,
yeah,
and you don't really want to focus on the cameras right in front of you. You want to focus on what you paid to see.
Sure.
And I saved 2 years to go to this event, so I wanted to be fully mindful of what's happening in the ring.
Uh-huh.
So when it happened, I didn't even know the cameras were on me. It's kind of weird. 'Cause I was more focused on because it all looked weird. So when the referee hit the 3, he looked like he didn't know what was happening. It was like, oh, something's wrong. And like the whole time, his reaction, Paul's genuine reaction, like the way he reacted, I thought like something off the script.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought I was a wizard because I was wishing it was me and this kid behind me. The only people I feel like in my section who was yelling, I hope you die, Taker, or keep dead man down throughout the whole match.
Yeah.
And then he loses, and so the screen went white. So when you all the screens around the Superdome went white for a second. and then you saw the 21-1, and it was just weird. The music didn't even start for Brock immediately.
Yeah.
It was all weird. So everyone was standing there like, what's happening? So like if you actually rewatch when Brock leaves the ring, you can see me laughing hysterically. Because I was so happy that someone beat the man who beat Triple H. I was done.
I took a selfie of myself with Brock's hand raised in the background because I was happy. Everybody at my house we were watching it was still in shock, but I was happy. It didn't really sink in for me at that moment too. But I mean, man, I couldn't imagine being there just to look around, be there in time. Like if you go back in time, you got a time machine. Like call Doc and Marty. I want to go back to that moment of the Undertaker losing, just to look at everybody's face in that building. Like I mean, from your look to everybody's, I couldn't imagine. So it's. Could you hear a pin drop? Pretty much.
I mean, it was dead. It was silent. I'm not saying it was dead silent, but it was as silent as it could be for 70,000+ people in a stadium. But like it, so like you're sitting there, right, and you're watching a match. I'm not sure what everyone else is thinking. I think people were like, "This is BS" or whatever. I'm like, yo, you don't realize what just happened. Like, screw Rollins coming out like the year after and winning with the Money in the Bank. Whatever. You just saw a Bruno Sammartino losing situation where he lost and the whole arena went silent. You just witnessed something on par with Hogan slamming Andre. Like, that was the level of importance of what we just witnessed. So, like, it didn't, if you think about it, and I don't want to say there's no shocker, but there's no shocker that like, everyone, got quiet. Like, this was, you got upset, but everyone in that room, everyone in that stadium can say, oh, for that historic moment, I was there.
Yeah.
That was a, legit history book making match.
And so, did any match after that even matter? I mean, I couldn't imagine the next match starting and everybody's, all excited for it. I mean, I'm it was just lingering on everybody. That's such a big moment.
Again, it's kind of weird because the kind of downfall of this, I've been to a lot of events, and I'll sit in the risers or in the stands, and it's kind of weird when no one else is in front of you. So you kind of don't get sucked into that conversation that you typically would if you're sitting there live. So it just went on to the next match, and I was like, oh, Divas match. Oh, this is fun. I think that was next, but I think the Daniel Bryan thing saved it.
Yeah, for sure. I was he needed something to get the crowd to walk home happy, right? Something big.
Right. I mean, and either way, Taker winning or losing, I was talking to someone about this. Taker winning or losing didn't matter because, and people might hate me for saying this, but I still feel 30 was the best WrestleMania purely because of the Daniel Bryan story. The beginning and then the end. You have it all in one as story-wise to consume.
Yeah.
You have that beginning and the end. So no matter what happened in that Taker match, that whole WrestleMania was going to be great because of the Daniel Bryan story.
Definitely. Wow.
So either way, that saved. I mean, you can say it's saved, but it was the continuation of that story that we can just get sucked back into after Taker losing.
Sure. Now, fast forward. I mean, 2 years later. We saw what seems to be the last of The Undertaker. I mean, he left his hat, his gear in the ring, walked away at this year's WrestleMania, but I don't know. Do you think that's the last time we'll see him, or I don't know. Do you think he's kind of old school like that, where he left it in the ring like that, or do you think Vince is going to try to squeeze another match out of him or something? I mean, I don't know how you come back from that, right?
I don't think he's coming back. I hope he doesn't come back.
There's no need, right? Yeah.
Because like he has his hip issue, he has his knee issue. I think WrestleMania 32 was the last one I went to, and I got to, because I do a lot of powerlifting and weightlifting, so you tend to find other people do the same thing, and I found people who actually go to his gym, and they were telling me how he warms up and how he was warming up his knee because he has no cartilage in that knee.
Yeah.
So do you know about rowing? Like with a actual row machine?
Yeah, yep.
Like for cardio?
Yep.
He did it for an hour before each session to
Wow.
warm up the knee. I can't do that for like 15 minutes. I'm done.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. So I'm like, you do that for an hour so you can get your knee fluid in your knee so you can actually train. Dude, that's a lot of love for a sport. And I'm like, yo, you give enough. You've given enough. So he should just, like, in my opinion, if your hip is hurt, which means you can't train anymore, and you're doing all that so you could train in the first place, he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think about his last match too? I mean, there was a lot of ugly spots in it, and I don't really know whom to blame. But I mean, going out on that match too, I mean, it's kind of a shame, right? I don't know.
The ending saved it though.
Yeah,
like,
him walking away, kind of thing.
Yeah. So the mistakes that happened, right? Like, was it the powerbomb or was it the two? I forget what move. He just couldn't do it.
Yeah, he tried to pick it up. I think reverse tombstone or something, and he couldn't pick his leg back up, right? And then
yeah, and it was like, one, it kind of tells the story still too, right? Like, he can't do this anymore, and it goes along with that story of him wrapping it up.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think the ending, them getting the camera off of him and putting his stuff on. At the very end of that, you have Roman, the new pyrotechnic movie star. Because if you watch that clip back, it was like you're watching the movie. Like, why? How did they set that background up to look that way? They're magicians over there, WWE. But then cut to Roman, show him being the new big dog and going to Taker, laying it down. It's all about storytelling, right?
Yep.
Like we watch these matches and it's telling the story, but what WWE does is tell it with more dialogue and more acting. And I think the end of that match is what stands. Forget the botches or whatever. It's him putting everything down, kissing his wife. That's now Mark. That's not Taker. And him going and sinking it back down, and it's over.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But let's talk about this too. You actually met the Undertaker. Did he? I read a little bit of a story, but I'd like to maybe have you just mention it or talk about it. Tell us when you met him. Was it before WrestleMania? It was one of the meet and greets, or? Well,
so this is the second time I met him. The first time he didn't know. I mean, this was the access of WrestleMania 30.
Mm-hmm.
So I met him for the first time before the show. Didn't know that he was going to lose. No one knew he was going to lose. So WrestleMania 32, I bought another ticket to meet him, and I was standing in line. And people knew that, I was there, and a security guard from the venue got the head of security for WWE, and he brought him over to me, and he was like, Taker's having a bad day. If you don't tell him you're you, I'm going to tell him that you're you. And I'm like, wait, hold on, what's happening here? So
it's all moving so fast. What's going on?
Right. I just want a picture again. That's all I want.
Yeah.
That's it. And so I had this plaque I got from the Access shop, the Superstore, and so I wanted him to sign it. So I go up to him. So by the time I get up there, he sees me. He already knows the way out. So he puts his hand out, shakes it real stern. He's like, I heard you've been waiting for me. I guess so. Brings me in. I hope I have something to shock you with this year. Wow. And I was like, I started laughing. I was like, I hope you do. And when you have certain interactions with people, you can tell if they're being genuine or it's an act.
Mm-hmm.
This was a genuine smile. This wasn't him staying in character or whatever. This was the guy that I heard his name is Mark,
Mm-hmm.
And he was just a nice guy. And so we had an interaction. He smiled big and I smiled big back. And he saw the plaque I got from the Superstore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm talking to him, and Tim White's there, and the representative from WWE's also standing next to him. And I was like, hey, I was wondering if we can do this thing where you can be shocked and I can do your pose. And the whole time I'm trying to talk to him and explain this to him, he's looking at my plaque like genuinely concerned, because this is like the worst. If you ever see this thing, you don't want to get. This is the worst thing to pick out to get signed. Like this, like the gloss from this is like extra super duper gloss.
Yeah.
Like there should be a sign saying, "Do not get this autographed by anyone." So, so Undertaker is like looking concerned, trying to figure out how to write on this thing. And then Tim White says, no. So the person, representative, here's my request. And she's like, oh, he can't do that. And then Tim White says he can do whatever he wants. So as Taker's trying to like go hearing this back and forth, and then finally signing it, I'm telling you, the care he put into this is ridiculous. And it's still in the smudging.
Yeah.
But he was like, how about this? You do what you do, and I'll do what I want to do. I was like, okay, fair enough. So I get on one knee, do the Undertaker pose, and I can't, I'm looking at the camera, I can't, everyone in the crowd in line still popped like no other. And I turned back to him, again, the same smile I saw in the beginning came back out again. And I smiled back. Like, that wasn't the character that I met the first time.
Sure,
who looked stern-faced. This guy, that was the guy, Mark, and he was just, you could tell good people. He's a good person.
Nice.
He didn't have to do all that.
Definitely. It's a great story. I mean, I just love hearing about it, but has anything shocked you since WrestleMania that much? I don't know. I mean, there's some stuff I could probably bring up, but I mean, you personally, have you been shocked that big, or I don't know, ever since the Taker loss?
Shane coming back.
That was a good one.
That was unexpected. Ooh,
let me drop this one to you. How about even just recently, Jinder Mahal becoming the WWE champion? I mean, did you ever think you were not shocked by it?
No, he had the brothers with him. Like they went to the investment of bringing those guys up. This man has to win this title.
Yeah,
you brought him up, and plus, I'm a big fan of his.
It's amazing where he's come from, and it's like it's like that inspirational story for any wrestler out there. Like, don't worry about what you're doing now, but look what you could do, if you put some work into it, kind of a thing. And I was shocked that they gave it to him so soon. I knew there was things happening here and there, but still, I mean, there was talk of it, like, oh, it's going to happen, but still, I was hesitant. I was really hesitant, and I don't know, I was not Undertaker shocked, but I was still a little bit shocked. I was like, wow, I didn't expect it,
Yeah, so I see these, I call it the shot cam or the Mbeh cam,
there you go.
Because they not go to the crowd, but I can't, because I follow the story, and I've been watching this since I'm 33. Mm-hmm. I've been watching this since with my grandmother and my mom when I was 4 years old. So you kind of know the pace.
Yeah.
You don't know what's always going to happen, but it's paced correctly, so I'm not really too shocked anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, that happened. That was, you would never thought leading up to that match that Taker was going to lose.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's like Samoa Joe lost or Shinsuke Nakamura lost. I'm like, dude, they're wrestlers. They're just people. I mean, I don't want to put them down. I'm meeting Shinsuke Nakamura this Saturday. I'm meeting him at AwesomeCon, but he's a wrestler. He's not like an icon who doesn't lose at Extreme Rules or whatever the show, a random show that's not a marquee Big Four. Yep. It's just another thing, another night, another loss. So when Bayley lost, everyone was shocked. I was laughing. Look at you, Bayley people saying that she lost to Asuka. Yeah. I was laughing in the crowd at everyone. Look at you people rooting for Bayley. What do you think was going to happen?
Man.
So, yeah.
Well, it's a great story, but can you tell us, how has your life changed? I mean, just from that moment, what happened, little things here and there that was basically just for sticking the camera on your face at that moment. what were some of the things that just automatically changed, like the next day or next night or the next few minutes of your life?
So when that thing happened, a guy in the second row tapped my shoulder and said, "Hey, you're a meme." I didn't think about it too much because I'm watching wrestling.
Right.
Again, the package I bought was not inexpensive, so it was an investment to go to WrestleMania. So I was focused on what I was watching.
Sure, yeah.
But as I walked out, people were grabbing me. "Hey, let's get pictures together. You're that guy." Like, what are y'all talking about? And then the next day, this lady in the street in New Orleans was like, "Hey, aren't you that guy on World Star?" And I ran away. Like, I literally ran away. Like people, like, there's some guys I know, and they saw me, and I just ran. Like, I crossed traffic and just ran. And it was cool. It got attention. Like, it was cool to see that it was picked up. It was kind of messed up to watch how people who weren't aware of the importance of what we were watching kind of like manipulate the thought of why I was shocked.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, it started like I was graduating college. I went back to school, got my degree. Mm-hmm. So I graduated college like the next month. So I walked, had my degree, my degree in marketing. Mm-hmm. This led to, and I guess my last month I had a keynote paper. And that's right, keystone paper, and I wrote about being viral or going viral and the concepts around that. Mm-hmm. And this led to me eventually getting a internship at an agency for a year and 6 months or whatever, year and a half, and like doing a lot of stuff with different entities like entertainment companies, mm-hmm. Corporate companies, and CPG. And then eventually it got me into the job I'm at now, where I'm a social media strategist. Awesome. And I just sit back and I get how social works now, mm-hmm. Through the experience I got. And I think the event that happened at WrestleMania 30 helped spark that thought around pursuing this. Because a lot of people, when they go viral, quote unquote, mm-hmm. they're like, "Well, I'm famous." No, you are not. Sit down. You are not famous. You are, unless your bank account is famous, you ain't famous. You're just a person who got caught and everyone's using your picture. Yep. It's so my reality is that, again, I'm in my 30s. This happened at WrestleMania 30. I was 30 years old. I don't have time to play games. This is my hustle time, mm-hmm. And it was like, if I want to understand how this works and figure out there's a business behind this that I can try to understand and figure out. So my strategies don't involve being shocking or finding memes or whatever. It's more of, I literally, through my experiences after that, mm-hmm. because of this experience, have helped me understand how to utilize social media for different industries.
Nice. I mean, hey, who would have thought, right? All this stuff, one door leads to the next, and so on and so forth. Wow.
Right. So, again, you doing this many episodes nonstop, back to back, and I understand what that takes.
Yes. Nobody appreciates it. I know.
Yeah, I'm telling you, no, your viewers will love your content. They'll hear it, and they'll appreciate it. But very few people actually understand the grind you have to go through to produce this many episodes and all the content you do. So I'm aware of it, and just letting you know that the streak is legitly amazing.
Wow, thank you.
For you to go that long.
That's it, man. Like I said, who better to get than the Undertaker, the Streak guy, Ellis. Thank you so much, man. It's been great talking to you. I'm kind of sad, I'm probably not going to talk to somebody now for a few months or who knows when. But like I said, the streak comes to an end tonight. You, my friend, are the last guest consecutively for a while. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Where can the fans listening to you follow you on social media?
At ellismbeh.com, not .com, at Ellis Mbeh. It's ELLISMBEH. Hopefully it's somewhere in the description of this podcast. But I'm always on Twitter. I'm approachable. Say hi to me. I'll be at SummerSlam and NXT in Brooklyn. So say hi. Awesome, man. I'll be down there too. I'll probably see you then. But thanks again. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
right, once again, thanks to Ellis, the last consecutive guest right now. But like I said, the show isn't over. It's just going on a break. But guys, that doesn't mean we can't stop talking about a little bit about wrestling. So let's get right into the week that was, shall we? Every week, we started the podcast and, in between we did specials on pay-per-views, and then it became the brand split, and now we're having a pay-per-view every other week, and it's gotten a little crazy. So we kind of shut them off from the show, did a little bit of YouTube specials for these pay-per-views, but really briefly, since we're going to go on a little bit of a break, let's talk Money in the Bank thoughts, guys. Basically, who do you think's walking away with the Money in the Bank from the women's and the men's matches? I think that's the most important thing to talk about, right?
Boy, that's a tough one. I mean, there's 6 big names in that men match, and then there's some unknowns in this female Money in the Bank match. I would love to see AJ Styles get it, even though he doesn't need it. I think Sami Zayn could really benefit from it. Maybe push him up to that next level on that SmackDown roster. But in terms of the women, I have no idea. Do you go the smart route and put it on Charlotte? Or do you try to elevate somebody else? Like maybe give Natty what she finally deserves, or start with somebody new like a Carmella. I don't know what to do with this. Quite frankly, I'm very interested in this card. I really, it's probably the first time that I actually want to watch a pay-per-view, as opposed to feeling like I have to because we do a wrestling podcast. You know what I mean? Like, this is like genuinely something I want to see. So what they do, there's only one way to find out, I guess.
I'm very interested in myself. I mean, I think that they're going to take a chance and give it to Baron Corbin on the men's side. I think that would benefit him. It would help elevate him as a character. He doesn't have to cash in right away. Keep him with that briefcase for a couple months. It would help him so much, I think, more than anybody else. Sami Zayn is also a guy that would benefit as well. Like you said, AJ Styles is a guy who doesn't need it. Kevin Owens doesn't need it. He's got the U.S. title. He's going to go a long way with that. I see him being a future WWE champion soon as well. But right now, everything that Kevin Owens is doing is money. It's gold. I love it. When it comes to the women, I'm a little concerned. And I'm concerned because I'm happy that the women are getting their spotlight in this type of a match. But if you look at all these women, none of them have any experience being on a ladder. We don't know exactly how they're going to react with spots that high. I mean, I could see Charlotte doing a moonsault off the ladder. I have confidence in her. I think Natty was in a tables match a long time ago. But the other women are just so green when it comes to being in like a group environment type ladder match. So
that's a good point.
I don't see any big spots happening. And if they do, gotta help them. Hopefully no injuries happen. I just don't trust them in there. I don't. But if you want to put it on somebody, I mean it'd be self-explanatory to put it on Charlotte because the girl could talk. She would do great with that briefcase. It would be a perfect scenario. Are they going to do a perfect scenario? Probably not. I could see them putting on someone like Carmella. Just to kind of amp something up in a way. Your boy James Ellsworth's going to be women's champ soon.
Oh, my gosh. Did you imagine if they went with that route and he actually holds the briefcase for the women? And,
he's going to be the one that runs down to the ring with the briefcase.
Well, you brought up a good point, though. I didn't even think about this. I mean, this women's ladder match, there's no fucking women's ladder match like every other week or every month. Like, this is like the first one. Like, I mean, I'm trying to fucking think in my head and go rack my brain of like ladder matches and women, but seriously, like this is like the first televised 5 women WWE had like a ladder match with women, and so that like you said, how do these girls are a lot of guys in wrestling? Okay, we've had ladder matches; they're used to working with it, but still, none of these women that I know have had ladder matches on TV, and have done anything good with them. I mean, it's a mystery yet to be seen. So that's definitely one thing to look forward to. But
let's be grateful that suitcase isn't pink.
Let me throw something else out here. Let's be honest. We had the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match, and that was a fucking train wreck with those botched spots. If you ask me, I think they used a ladder Not in any spots. I think the safe route is to use it just for somebody to be able to get the briefcase. I don't see them because of the lack of, I want to say, veteran talent in the match. I mean, you do have some people in there who are green as fuck, like Carmella. I think they go to safe route, just use the ladder for the finish of the match. I don't see them using ladder in spots the way the guys do. You can't go there. You have to test a few things out, but I don't see it going crazy at all because I think of what happened in Hell in a Cell, they're going to try to keep it as basic as possible.
And the thing with that mentality, I mean, that's probably the best way to go. But the fans, because it's a Money in the Bank match, they're going to be expecting something. Yeah. These women step their game up. And if they go in there and it's the first women's Money in the Bank match and it's stale, it's going to be a lot of criticism.
I know, and so that's definitely a good point for this weekend with that match. So, regardless who wins that, it's definitely going to be something to watch just to see what they do with it being the first one and all. But I mean, going back to the men's Money in the Bank, I got an email today. And it said my email was from Sami Zayn. And I'm like, why is Sami Zayn emailing me? It basically was sent out to the WWE Universe, but entitled From Sami Zayn. Basically, it says for the WWE Network, Money in the Bank gets in Zayn live this Sunday, 8 Eastern, 5 p.m., whatever. And it's just it's a picture of Sami Zayn just standing there. You can hit play and just basically like a network seller. Basically, hey, click this link over here and you can get the network this week. But I'm like, did they just fucking... don't tell me that if Sami Zayn wins now, I'm going to be like, really? This is the kind of stuff you're sending out to spoil it? But I mean, out of anybody in this... I mean, there's guys in this match like AJ Styles, who's been already a WWE champion, to where, okay, I could see him getting that briefcase. Or they've been also behind Shinsuke Nakamura to where I could see even him getting that. But out of all these guys, I mean, Dolph Ziggler has already won it before. Baron Corbin, I know they definitely want to push even more. So that's another good, solid winner for this. Kevin Owens, as great as he is, I don't see him walking away with it. But I don't know. I think Sami Zayn could be that, that little surprise in the bag, if you will, to where they didn't really know what to do with him. Maybe they can give him this to hold on to it for a while. I don't know. There's a lot of options, but... I don't know. I don't know. If I had to pick somebody, I would definitely want like an AJ Styles or Baron Corbin. That's it. Everybody else, I don't really want to see it. I don't know.
I got to piggyback something Mike said a few weeks back. That briefcase is meant for somebody who can talk. You remember saying that, Mike. And if they put that fucking briefcase on Nakamura, who was the one standing on the ladder at the end of the show, I'm just going to be watching SmackDown on mute until that briefcase is gone.
That's booking 101. It's Nakamura stood dominant the go home show. That means he's not winning on Sunday. It's always pro wrestling, or not pro wrestling, I want to say WWE booking 101, where they make a challenger seem very strong going into the show, and then when the show happens, he loses.
Yeah. Well, okay.
What do you guys think of the tag team match here between the New Day and the Usos? Because I am loving the back and forth between these two teams. That fucking segment with the New Day walking out with that band was awesome. And then just the Usos, I'm digging their fucking promo style. I love that shit. Well, it really makes me want to see a tag team match again.
I love the heel Usos, but you know what? After seeing all those tag teams in the ring, I had to post it on Facebook. I had to post it, and it was a picture of American Alpha. They went from tag team champions to, like, kids on a milk carton. Where have they been? What happened to American Alpha? And like, you can't put the argument out there that, like, oh, there's too many teams right now on TV. We're going to let them sit aside. But somebody screwed somebody's sister. What happened with American Alpha? I mean, as much as I want to see, this match looks decent and what's going to happen, to where I'm almost afraid of New Day winning the tag titles for another 400-something days, but I'm still thinking in my head, where's American Alpha? What happened? That's what I'm going with. I don't know.
So American Alpha, they right now are literally just sitting in the back, collecting paychecks, working house shows. I don't think creative has any idea what to do with these guys. And it sucks. It sucks because I've been behind American Alpha since the days they started in NXT, when you got Jason Jordan searching for a tag partner. I thought that was a great story when they came together. And they translated so well with the NXT universe. And they did a great job hyping them up when they first came to the main roster as this tag team that's very, very, very hot. and very good. And then out of nowhere, they just gave up on him. Creative did. And the thing is, I can't blame them because, yeah, Jason Jordan, he's happy to be there, smiling all the time. He's got his mouthpiece, Chad Gable, which is actually very good on the mic.
Yes.
And in the ring, those guys are incredible. They put on amazing matches. So I think it's Creative's fault that they dropped the ball like they dropped the ball with Bayley. And they dropped the ball with American Alpha. I think what it is Creative has a problem translating these popular acts from NXT to the main roster. I think that's their fault. And this is I'm kind of fearing Nakamura right now. Finn Balor, he's on his own little universe. He's good. But I'm just kind of nervous with how they do stuff by translating the people from NXT into the main roster. It's just mind-boggling. I don't know what goes on in creative meetings.
Let me throw this out there. I loved them in NXT, and I think a lot of that was because the crowd got behind them so much. They are great in the ring, single style, but you don't really see too much cohesion between them. They don't do the moves together, like the Revival would. I mean, they have their moments, but they're not like a unit. I mean, I could watch Chad Gable. I could watch Chad Gable grapple all day, and I can watch Jason Jordan throw people around all day. But the two of them together, they don't work like a team that you want to see work together.
That I disagree with. I mean, they're not. No one's on the level of the Revival's teamwork. That's just on a whole different level.
Bad example, but I'm saying
right.
on that level, nobody is. But in terms of working together, they're not the greatest. They really aren't.
I beg to differ, but I can agree to disagree.
Well, guys. One last thing though about Money in the Bank, real quick. Orton gets a WWE title rematch in his hometown. Jinder Mahal. He's the WWE champion now. What happens with this match? Are we going to get a clean win for Jinder? Or are we going to just win like all the heels win, right? I don't know. Some kind of shady interference or something?
I would love to see a clean win for Jinder Mahal. No outside interference, no distraction. I mean, the Singh brothers are going to be out there, and it's going to happen. But if you want to establish Jinder Mahal as a top talent, you got to give him the big win, and you got to give it to him clean. I mean, this is how guys like Daniel Bryan got over when he finally beat John Cena. Clean in the ring, no distractions, no nothing. I mean, there's not too many people who can say that. You need to be able to say, all right, Orton, thanks, but no thanks. You're doing the job. Here's your fucking paycheck. Go on a jet, go visit Brock for a couple of weeks, and come back when we need you.
Listen, guys, WWE booking, okay? What happens when a superstar is in their hometown?
They lose. Okay? Charlotte
lost when she was in her hometown. Sasha lost when she was in her hometown. Bayley lost in her hometown. Randy Orton is now in his hometown. He is going to lose, which is the right decision in my opinion. Jinder, I'm starting to kind of jump on the Jinder train a little bit. I'm actually really digging this. His new entrance, I think, is fantastic.
Oh yeah, that fucking graphic on the floor is great.
Like he's walking on a magic carpet. I think that's great. And I gave this a chance. I know a lot of people was ripping on this that Jinder was the number one contender. I gave it a chance. I want to see how it is. And sometimes when you give it that chance and you give it some time, it starts to grow on you a little bit. And Jinder as a heel right now, he's definitely growing on me. He really is. I hope that they keep the title on him throughout the summer. Give him a nice little push. Hopefully he doesn't run into the Cena curse. Other than that, Jinder's the guy who needs to win this Sunday. He's going to win.
July's right around the corner, Mike. John Cena will be back on the 4th of July.
Oh, but did you know, speaking of John Cena, guys, did this pass anybody's eyes over the week? I think it was on SmackDown or Raw or something to where I missed it because I kind of multitask during these shows sometimes, but John Cena is a free agent.
Yes, I saw that. That was something I was going to talk about. I do not understand how this man is a free agent when he was drafted to SmackDown. I don't get it.
Somebody said, and I'm trying to find it, but somebody said to where because he wasn't around when they did the Superstar shakeup, I think they're using that excuse as far as of like
Dumb excuse.
Exactly. I don't know. That's what someone was saying. I'm trying to find the exact thing what somebody said. So they said due to him being unavailable for the Superstar Shakeup, so he has become a free agent. So,
and it's funny you bring that up because Cole dropped that like so many times. It's free agent John Cena like on Raw, and then you have this Roman Reigns tease happening next week for his announcement at SummerSlam. And the rumors are going wild right now. People are going crazy, whether they love it, they hate it, about allegedly Roman Reigns calling out John Cena for SummerSlam because he beat Taker. Now he wants to be the face that runs the place. But the whole free agent thing, I'm just kind of lost with that. Like, I didn't know he was a free agent.
It's more or less John Cena doesn't want to be on SmackDown, and John Cena wants to do whatever he wants kind of thing, maybe. But that leaves, because Braun Strowman was actually just cleared too. And so that's kind of like, is Braun going to go with Brock at SummerSlam, or what are they going to do with that, or who's winning, or Brock versus Joe, or I don't know. A lot of things happening, but John Cena free agent. I'm like, okay, are you tired of SmackDown already? You haven't even been on the show.
Oh boy, if he ends up on Raw, and Raw in the last couple of weeks, like I've been shitting on it, but the last 2 weeks it's been very, very good.
Yeah,
in my humble opinion.
With the ratings, though, is that their like backup? Like, oh, we need John Cena.
I don't give a fuck about ratings. Fuck the ratings. I'm talking the content of the show. I've actually been happy with the way they started it off this week. But we'll get to that in a second. The whole thing with John Cena is that roster is a bunch of guys that I would fear to put in front of John Cena because just get the shovel. I mean, Seth Rollins. All right, Seth Rollins has already been. Whatever, but I mean, you got a Braun Strowman who's been built up. You have a Samoa Joe who's been built up. There's a plethora of other talents out there on that roster that I'm like, please don't put him with John. Finn Balor is on Raw.
That main event scene is so crowded right now on Raw. But it's not crowded in a bad way. It's crowded where you have options, and
you don't. And that's the point. You don't need to put him on Raw.
You definitely don't need him on Raw,
especially with no title on Raw.
Yeah, you put him on Raw. Oh my God, Vince is going to automatically throw him right in the top, and it's just going to ruin. It's just going to ruin any momentum guys like a Braun Strowman have, or guys like a Finn Balor have, or even a Samoa Joe. Those guys that deserve that spotlight right there. So the main event scene on Raw is perfectly fine. If they want to do a Roman versus Cena match, that's fine. Keep Cena on SmackDown and have Roman on Raw, and that's your SummerSlam inter-promotion match. Do that. That's fine. But keep him on SmackDown where he needs to be. Yeah. He needs to be over there.
I can't even say that I would want to see that match. And you want to know why? Think of where is SummerSlam?
In Brooklyn.
Okay. So it's probably one of the biggest marked towns in the country with Chicago, and we'll throw Miami in there. A couple other big towns. But
Detroit,
the point is,
Miami.
Huh?
Detroit, not Miami. Miami's a freaking pit bull city.
Yeah, but they get some raucous crowds.
I wouldn't say Miami.
Whatever. It's not the fucking point, Mike. The point is, New York is going to boo the fuck out of Roman Reigns, and they have always booed the fuck out of John Cena. So which one of these two, they're going to just boo the whole fucking match.
Oh, that'd be great.
Why would you have that match at SummerSlam at a big name event in a city that's just going to boo the fucking shit out of both of them? It's going to be a train wreck.
Hey, they like to throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, I guess.
Wow, that'd be interesting though. Heel versus heel, I guess, or what we want to call it. But wow. Regardless, though, moving right along, though, we're gonna have we had the Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar confrontation on Raw, which was pretty big. It cleared the whole benches, right? They all had to come out and stop the fight. Man, it's like, as the number one contender, it's like the dream match we kind of wanted to see. Joe versus Brock, it's happening, and it's happening in a few weeks. So, what do you guys think about this? I mean, this is it, Beast versus Beast or whatever.
I honestly loved every single second of it. They did it perfectly. Like, I had a feeling that they were going to do a pull-apart brawl, which is fine. They did that a couple years ago with Taker and Brock. They don't do it as much. They didn't overkill it. The thing I loved about it, though, is that they made Samoa Joe look strong. He came in there not fearing the Beast, and he hung in there with the Beast. Brock did not dominate him. It was perfectly done. I really didn't want to see these guys touch until Great Balls of Fire, but the way they did this pull-apart brawl, that sounds really bad now that I think about how I said it. I don't want them to touch until Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah, you read my mind there, yeah?
Yeah. But anyway, I didn't want them to touch until that event. However, the way they did this pull-apart brawl, I thought was perfect. I thought it was great. It made Samoa Joe look like a threat, looks like a guy who can actually beat Brock, and it made Brock look like he's not as badass as he comes off as.
Yeah.
I said this a few weeks ago, that be careful when Brock comes back, because they're going to have something really, really good for him, and they usually do when he's had these long absences, and this couldn't have been better. I got to piggyback here. I'm sorry. But the way Joe walked down to that ring, like, who the fuck is this motherfucker think he's talking to like that? Let me go in there, show no fear. It couldn't have been better. I mean, finally, I am excited to see a main event match for the Universal title at Great Balls of Fire. But there is some funny shit about this confrontation, because you know me, I'm the kind of guy who likes to nitpick. And when they had that locker room clearing incident where everybody's like, you look at the guys who are holding back Brock Lesnar. On that side, there's Enzo Amore and fucking Kurt Hawkins. And I'm like, all right, can we maybe have brought the Big Show out and maybe held them back? Because, I mean, we are talking about Brock Lesnar, and you got Enzo and Kurt Hawkins and a few others, of course, but it's just, you know, the midgets and losers usually stand out to me. So I thought that was pretty fucking funny.
Well, it's at least selling the pay-per-view. I mean, we've joked about it for weeks now of Great Balls of Fire, and it's the name still sucks, but I mean, I'm still gonna I want to watch it. You know, like, I definitely don't want to miss it now, kind of a thing. So just because of that match, so I guess at least they're doing. I guess Vince maybe knows that he had such a shitty name that he needs something big to happen on it. But either way, something great's happening. But either with that, moving right along. I know this isn't wrestling related, but it is kind of. We have Floyd Money Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. What's happening with that, Mike? Since you're a resident MMA junkie, right?
Let me tell you something, man. This has been speculations going on for a while. Ever since after UFC 205, Madison Square Garden, when Conor just decided to get his boxing license, speculations have been happening with this. They've been going back and forth for months, and it got to a point where I just gave up on it, didn't even believe it. And then today, I got the tweet, and I got the text, and I got all the alerts that it's official. And then I saw McGregor put it out there, and then Mayweather put it out there, and then Dana White's on ESPN talking about it. This is going to be a huge money-making fight. You got Floyd Mayweather, who was a part of WrestleMania. Everybody remembers him from breaking the Big Show's nose and then beating the Big Show. And then you got Conor McGregor, who I feel later on in life will be a part of WrestleMania sometime down the road. This is a marquee match. They are projecting a big load of money. I mean, this is like WrestleMania money. That's the MGM. Actually, it's at the T-Mobile Arena. Excuse me, the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. They're expecting a shitload of money. And when I say WrestleMania money, I mean WrestleMania pulls in what, like at the gate, was it say like 10 million? I want to say maybe a little more. They're expecting the gate to pull in at least 60 plus million alone.
There's no way.
Trust me, it's
for the gate and a small arena. If you're talking WrestleMania, the stadium.
You gotta understand that those ticket prices, like Upper Deck, are gonna be fucking expensive. Like, you're talking about $900 tickets, and people are gonna buy them. If you want to go to the floor, the ringside for one seat alone is gonna be $24,000. And it's insane. And then the pay-per-view buys, I guarantee you each pay-per-view, $125 a pay-per-view, probably $130 for HD. Like, they're really going to jack up the prices, and people are going to buy it because they're so interested in this match. Conor McGregor doesn't have a chance. Let's be real.
No, let's be honest.
I give McGregor all the credit in the world. He talked himself into this match. The guy's going to make easily $100 million. I mean, I'd be done after this. I'd retire.
Now,
I'd take wife, my newborn kid, and go someplace and never come back.
Now Connor's been known to talk shit to WWE wrestlers, and especially with some of their matches and whatnot. But was he even vocal too about CM Punk? I forget after he lost. But do you think the WWE wrestlers will be vocal on Twitter that night if he loses big towards McGregor? Or do you think they'll like to rub it in his face kind of thing? Or
he was actually very supportive of CM Punk. He gave CM Punk nothing but respect for going in there and doing what he did. Connor's a showman. He's going to talk shit no matter what. Connor has gone on record to say he's a huge wrestling fan. He loves the WWE. He's been a fan for a while. He loves Vince McMahon. He calls Vince McMahon one of the dons of the money world. And there's videos of him walking around like Vince McMahon. You see him when he enters into the cage for his fight. Every fight that Connor has, when he walks into the cage, he does the Vince McMahon walk. So that shows that he's a fan. He's talking a lot of shit to the WWE guys simply because that was a way for him to hype up his fight against Nate Diaz, because he had that big rematch with Nate Diaz back in August. You need to bring in not just your basic UFC fans, but you want to bring in another group of fans. Professional wrestling fans are very passionate. And
they will pay if they want to see you lose.
They will pay. So what's the best thing to do? Start talking shit about professional wrestling. Get the internet wrestling community going. And I'll tell you something, that helped the pay-per-view buys. I think that's one of the highest pay-per-views. I think the second highest UFC pay-per-view of all time. I might be mistaken there. Maybe it might be the third. But it helped the pay-per-view buys simply because he just went to the Twitter machine and just started talking shit about the wrestlers and all that shit. And he got the reaction he wanted. So, he got the reaction he wanted now out of the Floyd Mayweather camp. He's going to make $100+ million. Mayweather's probably going to make $200+ million. At the end of the day, Dana White said it great on ESPN. It's not about MMA fans. It's not about boxing fans. It's about combat fans. And this is for the fans. This is what the fans wanted to see. Now we're going to see it.
Yeah, well, let's talk about what we see possible outcome, Mike. I see 3 outcomes to this fight, right? One being your typical Floyd Mayweather fight. He dances around the ring, does what he does. Nobody does it better. And it'll be a boring fight. And he'll just clown McGregor.
12-round decision, yeah.
Or he goes in there to prove a point and tries to knock him out. I don't see that happening, but I think if he's afraid of him, he might try. But the third outcome is a $200 billion in one shot. McGregor gets lucky and hits him, and it's over.
I think McGregor's going to get some shots in. I cannot downgrade or, not. I have to give him credit when it comes to his stand-up. He has great stand-up, and it's not MMA, so he's not going to get taken down. So he has great stand-up, but he's not on the Mayweather level. The best thing about this, though, and I love this, is I love reading fans who don't watch MMA or don't watch boxing, but are wrestling fans that love, or not love, but know who McGregor is because of the shit he talked, and knows who Mayweather is because of him fighting the Big Show. Them just throwing out their opinions and their predictions. There was this one guy who was commenting, talking about how McGregor's going to go in there and take him down and just pummel him. And I'm sitting there reading this. I was like, does this guy understand that this is a boxing match? It's not an MMA fight. And then when you tell them that it's a boxing match, they kind of get a little butthurt. But it is what it is.
Well, either way, it's going to be great. But one more side note of this: who's calling the fight?
That's my man Mauro Ranallo getting that fuck money out of this. That Showtime Boxing has assigned Mauro Ranallo to be the voice of Mayweather versus McGregor. Mauro has been the voice of Showtime Boxing in general anyway, so it's kind of not a given. He's always going to be the voice of Showtime Boxing, but I think it's great. He's going to get a nice cut, not a huge cut, but he's going to get a nice payday from calling this. And Mauro, when he calls boxing matches, we all heard him call or wrestling, and he's very good at calling that. And I know a lot of people who are listening might not have ever listened to him call an MMA or a boxing match before.
Very good.
It's very good. He calls out every move to detail. If you're a new fan coming in, he's very good at explaining to you as it goes. So, I mean, that's what a color commentary needs to be good at, and that's what Mauro and Omega is great at. He just educates you as you go.
You know who he reminds me of in that sense?
Who?
Joey Styles.
Yes.
He would call matches for ECW. I mean, for the most part, he did it by himself, but he would call the match and also describe the hold and just was all around great announcer. Very similar style.
Well, it's going to be something to watch either way. But something else big happened. New Japan had their equivalent, I believe, to what we have over here with WWE is a SummerSlam show. Would you say, Mike?
Yes.
And tell us, Kenny Omega. You tell us. Tell us what happened with this match. 60-minute Iron Man match.
Well, it wasn't an Iron Man match.
60 minutes, just a match, right? I mean, yeah. Every time I say 60 minutes, I keep going back to Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Iron Man match. But yeah, tell us what happened.
So, this past weekend, New Japan Pro Wrestling had their Dominion card, and I gotta say, guys, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't watch New Japan. Watching this card, I always use this term breath of fresh air, but that's what it was, because it was just so simple to watch. There wasn't any like lollygagging. There wasn't backstage promos. Every match was great. I mean, Cody Rhodes had a great match with Michael Elgin. Tanahashi and Naito for the Intercontinental title was amazing. But the main event, the rematch between Kenny Omega and Okada for the IWGP title, I'm going to put it out there right now. It was so much better than the first one. In my opinion, I thought it was better than the first one. These guys went to a 60-minute draw, and there was Cooter knows me best for this. I love storytelling in wrestling. I love storytelling in the match. They told an amazing story. These guys went for 60 minutes, and it wasn't like one of those like they went easy into it and kind of, you know, did like tests of strength and stuff like that. From the moment that bell rang, they were chain wrestling. They were going at each other. By the 45-minute mark, these guys looked dead, but they were still hitting their power moves. There wasn't as many kickouts from finishers as the first one. I know that was a grievance that Cooter had. You had the Bullet Club come down to the ring. Cody Rhodes wanted to throw in the towel because Kenny Omega looked like he was about to die. But it was just amazing. Like, if you guys listening to another wrestling podcast right now, if you haven't watched this match, take the time. Sit down and watch it. I mean, you're going to be sitting there for 60-plus minutes, but it goes by so quickly because you get so invested into the storytelling that's happening, man. It was such a wonderful match. It really was.
Nice. I just... Once again, that's why we're going to kind of go on a little bit of a break. I just had no time to catch up with any of this, and I definitely want to watch it. It's definitely on my list. Cooter, man, what'd you think? Are you going to catch this anytime soon? It's on my list of must-watch matches.
I literally have the link. I'm going to watch it after we do this show. Again, with my schedule the way it's been, like it's something I wanted to see because I was somewhat critical of the first one. Because of what Mike said, I hate the finishers nonstop, and Mike, I remember you telling me, well, you know, that's like their WrestleMania, that's something that never happens. But I think it's because that we see it so often on the American side that's become it's so taboo because of what we're used to that I couldn't. It was just too much. Like kicking out of one finisher, yeah. 2, all right, you're pushing your luck with me, Junior. But 3 and 4, it's just like, all right, asshole. I'm going to bed. I'm going to go fuck it and jerk off all over myself. I don't want to see this anymore. Like that's just how I am. I mean, everybody has their own, you know, personal taste. It was a great match. I just hate that style of booking because, like I said, it's taboo now, man. It's really fucking taboo.
I think that style of booking is great when you do it for a certain match, certain people. I mean, they had a lot of like great move sets, and there wasn't just finishers. I mean, the one thing that Okada is known for, he has a Randy Orton drop kick, which is like picture perfect. And Kenny Omega did this counter to the drop kick. I've never seen this before. it looked like it was planned, but it looked so perfect where Okada went for the drop kick and Kenny Omega just jumped and caught him in midair and powerbombed him with a counter. And it was just so picture perfect. It looked scripted, but it was just so awesome the way it looked. It was just to telegraph. Everything was perfect about it. The match was amazing, guys. Not just the match. I don't want to take away from the card because the card itself was great too. Like, this was New Japan's SummerSlam, and they definitely delivered with the card. Every match was great. Intercontinental title match was great. The never open title match was great. Just watch the card. I'm just gonna tell you, watch the card. Take a Sunday and watch the card.
There you go.
I wonder what Randy Orton thought of the first encounter.
Too many dives. I'm gonna dive into my checking account.
There you go. Well, guys, what a crazy week. What a crazy 3 fucking years of every week bringing you another wrestling podcast. But guys, as we briefly take a look ahead, we're going to be off for the next few months, I would say. Just it's summer vacation pretty much. We're going to probably miss some things. We'll probably still post some videos on YouTube and whatnot, so stay tuned for that. But I mean, all in all, we're going on a little bit of a break, right? But guys, basically give me one thing you want to see happen in the next few months. Maybe we might miss talking about on the show, but that's something that might happen or that you want to happen in the wrestling world. Is there anything you guys are looking forward to in the next few months, whether it be New Japan, WWE, Ring of Honor, or whatnot?
I got a few things that I would like to see. I'm interested in the Mae Young Classic. I do find it kind of funny that they picked her name and not the Fabulous Moolah, because we can't have a former pimp.
I'm looking forward to. I mean, the G1 selection show in Longwood, California, for New Japan Pro Wrestling is going to be something great to talk about. You got Kenny Omega versus Michael Elgin on there, which is going to be a great match. But the one match that's going to be amazing is going to be Okada defends his IWGP title against Cody Rhodes. That's going to be a fantastic match, in my opinion. I'm gonna, I want to talk about Money in the Bank, the outcome of that. That's something I want to hit. And then Great Balls of Fire is going to be a discussion that I want to talk about too. But we do have to take this vacation. We really do. The summer of wrestling is just going. I hope the summer wrestling is going to be epic, where we can have like a show when we come back to talk about the summer of wrestling.
There you go. Special. I love it.
Yeah, to talk about our highs and our lows.
That's it. A lot of things are definitely going to be happening in the next few months. Whether Money in the Bank is happening the first, and then Great Balls of Fire, then SummerSlam and whatnot, and then that's just WWE. But I mean, everything in between, a lot of things are happening. Definitely got to cleanse our palates, if you will. So it's not like we're going away forever, guys. You have 163 episodes to catch up on, but it is what it is. It's just a little bit of a break.
You guys are talking about events. I kind of want to just talk about a few things that I'm looking forward to see, besides things like the Mae Young Classic. I want to see Cruiserweights division elevated. I want to see some new talent in there. I want you to weed out some of these scrubs. I want to see Cedric Alexander in a goddamn feud, for Christ's sake. Something that has nothing to do with Noam Dar and Alicia Fox.
I think the biggest fix for that is just get rid of the E. We don't need the entertainment. I don't need to see them in a storyline. Cruiserweights are only meant for one purpose, to put on a fast fucking exciting match. That's it. I don't care who they're dating. I don't care what they're, don't give them a damn story. Just let them fucking talk in the ring. That's what they're there for. That's what they should be there for. But WWE has to slap their E on everything. And yes, it's entertainment, but at the same time, they have to understand that the Cruiserweights should be that special kind of fast-paced wrestling that we don't get all the time.
There's something I want to say, man. Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali. I want to see it. And I want to see Neville and Akira Tozawa. I want to see this shit.
You know what I'm doing in my summer vacation, pro wrestling related? Besides trying to get back to Full Sail University, I'm going to go to Reseda, California. I'm going to go see a PWG show, because they are simply what you just said. There's no storylines. There's no scripts. They just put on excellent matches. They put on matches you want to see, and they go out there and they go crazy. That's the one thing I'm going to definitely do this summer. Other than that, my summer vacation, I'm probably just going to get drunk, bang a lot of chicks, and just...
Venereal disease? Great Balls of Fire.
No. Well, not that type of Great Balls of Fire.
That's it. It's like I said, it's just a break. Like, we're gonna miss a lot of things, guys, but we'll definitely catch everybody back up when we return. So enjoy your summer. I think the most thing I'm gonna miss is hearing from the angry mother out there. If you missed her on a few of the shows, that was probably a nice little staple we had going. Angry Cooter. We gotta get see what her thoughts are on taking a little bit of a break, if you will.
Oh, believe me, she's already spoke on it when I told her yesterday. She's pissed off at you, Credo. She's saying that she appreciates all your effort, but now you're just being a pussy.
Maybe we'll have to have her break the breaking of the streak and have her as the guest for the next one. There you go. But
oh boy.
Well, guys, it's been fun. I thank you so much, Cooter. I thank you so much, Mike, for coming onto the show. Once again, a shout out to Jonathan Benjamin, who helped me in the beginning. Well, like I said, 164 weeks in a row having guests. It's a little bit overwhelming. 3 years every week doing a show, finding a guest. And I wasn't getting paid millions of dollars for it, which I should have probably been. But anyway, it's 3 years worth of content. AnotherWrestlingPodcast.com. Head on over there. That's where all the shit lives. Like us, follow us, subscribe to us, all that fun stuff, guys. But we'll see you in a few months, right?
See ya, bitches.
Bye.
So, who's next week's guest?
No guest. The streak's over, Ma. We're taking a break for summer vacation.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
The fuck I just said? We're taking a break for the summer. Credo's burnt out. He's tired of editing. Me and Mike got busy schedules this summer. We're taking a summer break.
You're all a bunch of pussies. I just got fucking started. I got a fan base out there.
Oh, Mom.